This is episode 2 of My Two Cents, where I give my opinions on controversies that pop up on my corner of the internet. This video does deal with topics of sexual assault and abuse, so watch at your own discretion, or feel free to skip over this video in its entirety. Former NCT member Taeil has pleaded guilty after being charged with gang raping an intoxicated woman in 2024 along with 2 other people. The prosecution is demanding a 7-year sentence, while Taeil's legal team is asking for leniency since he has admitted his guilt. This has increased scrutiny not only against Taeil, but how South Korea handles cases of sexual abuse against women. Many believe he deserves a longer sentence than 7 years. I don't want to be one of those fans that say, if this was blank idol, the backlash would be different, because I feel like it exempts certain idols from receiving criticism. However, I can't help but remember situations like Kim Woojin. Woojin got so much more backlash for allegations that were later proven to be false than Taeil is getting now for proven allegations. And I'm not implying that Taeil has received no levels of backlash because that would be untrue, but the levels of backlash idols like Garam and Sunghan got in comparison to levels of backlash Taeil was getting for having committed an actual crime that has been taken to a court of law is crazy. Fans often state that idols need to be held accountable, but to those who say that I ask, what does holding idols accountable look like? Because screaming on Twitter is not working. On June 16th, 100 Entertainment announced that the Boyz member Haknyeon would be going on a temporary hiatus. The reason for his hiatus was later revealed to be that he was being investigated by his agency for allegedly meeting up with a former Japanese porn star, Kira Asuka, at a bar in Tokyo, Japan, on the 29th of May, and paid her for sex, and as a result, his company terminated his contract and a producer from his company was removed from their position. Haknyeon released a letter on his Instagram story denying that he had paid Asuka for sex, like Japanese news outlets had reported. And I will read that statement to you guys now. Hello, this is Ju Haknyeon. First, I apologize to the fans who must have been greatly shocked by the news about me, as well as everyone who I gave cause for concern through this unsavory matter. In the wee hours of the morning of May 30th, 2025, I attended a private gathering with alcohol together with an acquaintance. And while it is true that I was at that gathering, it is completely false that I engaged in any illegal activity, such as the prostitution that is being mentioned in news reports and rumors. I am deeply reflecting on my actions, and I would like to sincerely apologize to everyone who was shocked by this matter. End quote. Credits to Subi for the translations. Now, I have a lot of opinions on this situation, so stick with me here. First, if you think that a 20-something-year-old heterosexual male is not having sex, what are you doing? I don't agree with him allegedly paying her for sex, though. As an idol, you have to navigate relationships and sexual encounters differently than the average person. Like, do you really want to ruin your career because you're horny and want pussy? Come on now. Secondly, what is going on with these male idols getting caught up in Japan? This must be a secret trend amongst male idols or something because Haechan and Johnny got wrapped up in something similar last year. They need to start making these girls sign an NDA or something. Additionally, fans don't like to admit this, but K-pop idols are products, and companies invest into these idols through paying for their training, promotions, makeup artists, styling, songwriters, producers, etc. So, when an idol does something that negatively impacts their image, that not only is a reflection on the idol, but their group, their company, and its investors. And at the end of the day, companies have to get a return on their investment no matter what. Lastly, Hakyeon isn't popular enough to pull this off. Haechan and Johnny were able to let their scandal run its course because they were from SM and NCT. Of course, the Boyz isn't Nugu, but they're a mid-tier group from a mid-tier company. The company is risking a lot more by keeping them under there. Now, this is not K-pop related, but something that I saw on Instagram and had to dig a little further to see what the hell was going on. Ivet Playa took to her Instagram and TikTok in a 3-minute long video where she alleged she had an inappropriate relationship with popular Spanish singer Alejandro Sanz that started in 2015 when she was 18 and he was 49. I will now read her video in full, and of course it was in Spanish, but I was able to find an English translation on the latintimes.com. Quote, Hi, I'm Ivet, and I'm here because I need to share my story with Alejandro Sanz, for the girl I was, but above all, for the woman I am today. It all started in 2015. I was his fan, and he followed me on social media. I was amazed that someone like him, so famous and so loved by everyone, would send me private messages, comment on my photos, and even post my things on his social media. And the bond grew stronger. And we met for the first time in private. I was 18, he was 49 at the time. It was very hard for me to accept that Alejandro Sanz knew exactly what I was. From the very beginning, he knew it. I was a girl who at 19 started working as a sales girl and traveled all over Spain. Behind his back, I performed 10 concerts in a month and a half, and he knew it. He played with my dreams, he played with my hopes. At 22, I left my home in Barcelona to move to Madrid, Spain, alone, because Alejandro Sanz hired me to work for him. And well, at the time, I don't really know the reason, but our private conversations weren't spied on. And the truth is, at least I have nothing and had nothing to hide. But well, even so, my personal connection with Alejandro Sanz was irredeemable and became intimate and sexual. I was supposed to be living a dream, just another dream in his hands, but the reality is that it turned into a terrible nightmare. I have no words to express what I felt. I feel cheated, I feel used, I feel humiliated, I even feel dirty because I don't know who could have seen what I sent them in my most absolute privacy. I feel that even though I try to justify him, and I swear I try to justify him in every way, his actions cross all boundaries of what I considered and still considered moral, even human. I remember an interview he gave in March of this year, he said he takes people out and said he's dangerous. And if you who've read this far are wondering why I'm here telling this, it's because Alejandro Sanz took me out. He scared me. He himself admits it. And I think he lives in a parallel reality that he's been constructing for himself many years. And I think he feels he's above good and evil. That's tremendously dangerous because I think deep down he is. Everyone allows it, and no one is capable of standing up to him. And that's even more dangerous. But me, well, no paperwork was signed with me, and in part, I feel a moral responsibility because I can, and because I believe I'm one of the few who can, to stand here and show that sooner or later the truth will come out, that it's over, and that he was wrong about me. He was wrong about me until the very end. I'm no longer that little girl who was willing to do anything to be closer to him. The Ivet of today knows what a healthy, proportional, and reciprocal bond is, and recognizes when someone does things from the heart, and when someone feels so empty inside that they only feel good about using the hearts of others. And now what? And now the truth, and now me. End quote. In response to her allegations, Alejandro Sanz uploaded a post to his Instagram story where he doesn't really address the specific allegations. However, he does allude that she made those allegations as retaliation for him not investing into her business. Quote, Ivet. I had a beautiful memory of the two of us, two adults sharing affection, living freely. It's a shame that this feeling has now been shattered. In May, you asked me to invest in some of your family's businesses. After discussing it with my advisors, I told you no. I'm sorry this is your response, but I want you to know I have never engaged in this kind of behavior and I never will. I truly hope you find your path and your happiness soon. End quote. I'm not here to say whether her allegations are true or false, but I want to talk about how abuse allegations against celebrities reflects society as a whole. Society has been telling women for ages to seek men with money, and to an extent, yes, you shouldn't be seeking millionaires or billionaires, but seeking a partner with financial stability is a good idea. However, women will stay with a man that has money or status and will end up sacrificing their own soul and well being as a result. Additionally, there are women who are so afraid of being alone that they will put up with abuse from their partner. Secondly, this goes for both men and women. If you're in your late teens slash early to mid 20s, you should never get romantically involved with someone that is old enough to be your mother or your father. That person is not trying to get involved with you because you're, quote, mature for your age. They're trying to get involved with you because you can be easily manipulated. I saw some comments saying, quote, where were her parents? And I also saw similar comments in relation to the ongoing case involving the late Kim Sae-ron. Now to preface, what I'm saying I'm not claiming applies to these specific situations, but only when people ask that question. I have to remind people that parents often pimp out their own children for fame and money. We see this in old Hollywood, current Hollywood, the music industry. Parents place their kids around Hollywood executives, record label executives, and live vicariously through their children's success. In light of the diddler and those like him, there have been many abuse defenders. And I think a reason they are so prevalent is because abuse doesn't always look like a man raping a woman or a boyfriend giving his girlfriend a black eye. It can be, and often is, mental, physical, sexual, psychological, and financial. Another reason I believe abuse defenders are so prevalent in social media is because there are many in real life when there are abusers in their own families. You're either A, the abuser, B, the abused, C, the abuse defender, or D, the only person with sense to call out the abuser. Fortunately, I was never abused as a child, but I have heard a few stories. One in particular, a young girl was being molested by her mother's boyfriend and didn't tell her until she became an adult. Okay, so that is it for the end of this video. I know this video did touch on some serious topics, but I felt it was necessary and that these conversations need to be had. So comment down below whether you agree with the points that I made, whether you disagree with the points that I made, or if you have another argument that I did not mention in this video.